So we're going to talk about marketing. Uh, I think that across the country, we have to have one of the biggest of our lists in the entire nation. We have, before our guests come in, close to 60,000 people on the our list. Whether it's business gifts, whether it's family program, in addition to loving Cutco, they already love and trust us as their representative. And there's no one better to introduce these programs to than people we've already done business with. And if I could add, if there's one thing I would say to guarantee success during fair season is to be aggressive with marketing. And here to talk about, and there's no one that does a better job of that on our team of than Liz with her past customers. So here to walk through her program as we start to think about who we're going to send to and doing like Josh said last time, the maximum versus the minimum. Um, this is Liz Pataki.
It's funny you almost called me Elizabeth because I was just telling Luciano now that I'm a mom and I'm getting older, I'm like this close to putting Elizabeth on my business cards and like
Yeah,
not having
I
Elizabeth twos
started that,
anymore.
Liz. That was me. I
I
started that.
it's really weird. I'm like, am I Elizabeth twosies? I'm 34 and a mom. Like, should I be Elizabeth? I don't know. It's really fun
Yes.
you just said that
Em-
because I'm pretty
Embrace.
close to being
Embrace.
Elizabeth. I know.
You'll always be lizard to me.
Well, it's yeah, you're the exception. You're allowed to. I remember you did that once in front of Missy and she tried for years. I'm like, that is for Miles. Do not call me Lizard. That is only for Miles, nobody else. But it's really interesting. I'm almost an Elizabeth. But anyway, so definitely excited to talk about marketing today. It is the topic that I have the most confidence in when it comes to speaking about anything. It's something I'm very passionate about. It's something that makes me a lot of money. It's something that I look forward to for every single show that I do throughout the year, and even shows that I don't do. I still do marketing for those too. So obviously, the fair and the home show season are when you go the hardest, and then of course sales or whatever. But I'm excited to just kind of go through what I do, and hopefully you guys get some nuggets from my systems. Um, I know this isn't the most exciting topic for a lot of people. For some people, it gets them stressed out. They get worried about the money aspect of it, which is fair. It does cost some money. But hopefully, after hearing all of this, you'll not look at it as that way and start to realize it's going to make you a lot of money. It's not going to just cost you a lot of money. It's going to be good for you also. I really do believe, like you were just saying, that this has one of the biggest impacts for every event. The more marketing you do, the more you're going to sell. So we'll kind of dive into this. First thing I'm going to say is everything you do matters. Everything you don't do also matters. We've all heard that quote before. It's something I apply to pretty much everything in my life. It's very true. What you don't do matters, and everything that you do does. So keep that in mind when you're making decisions about marketing for every show throughout the year. Um, so obviously, my way is not the only way. We all have been around for a long time. There's not many new people on this call. There's a few, but for the most part, a lot of you have been around even longer than me. So my way is definitely not the only way. But like I said, my goal is just to get you guys even just a couple of nuggets to implement into your business and really crush your fair season. Some of you might take everything I say and just change what you're doing. That's cool. Some of you might just tweak a few things. That's also cool. And some of you might say, Liz, you're stupid and ignore me. That's not cool, but whatever. That's fine too. That's your choice. So, the more marketing you can do, definitely the better results you're going to get. You're not going to lose money by marketing to your customers. You will make the money back and then some. It's a fact. So I wouldn't worry about that. Um, Something to remember this time of year is it's very similar to your holiday season. Like you can't think that you're sending too much stuff. You're not. The more you do, the better off you're going to be. You need to take advantage of every medium of marketing because you don't know who's going to see what and who's going to respond to what. If you think that one email and maybe one text is going to reach everyone, you're a little bit crazy with respect. That's just not, it's not accurate. Don't think that way. So to start off, the first thing that I do for all of my events and the first medium that they get of marketing is, of course, the direct mail, the postcard. This is going to be the first thing that's going to hit your clients, at least for me. It's the first thing that they're going to receive. Personally, I'm going to send a postcard to everybody that's purchased at the fair before, and then 100 miles around the fair address. Um, for the New York State Fair, remember that people travel from all over for that fair. Erie County is definitely a little bit smaller, so if you want to do a smaller radius, you could, but I would think for at least the New York State Fair, 100 miles is a really good idea, just because people do come from all over. It's such a big deal. Um, as far as tags, I'm hoping that you guys all tag your shows using the CRM. Like it's a no-brainer. I've been tagging every single show since 2015 when I came full time. So I can easily see. I was actually just looking at it this morning while I was trying to figure out my tickets. I have 482 people tagged as Erie County Fair. So I know at the very minimum, those people are going to be getting everything, but that's before the radius around it. So you can do whatever radius you choose to do, but please go a little bit bigger for New York State because it's going to help you to think bigger for that one. Most of us already do a fast action bulk order for the discount. We all pretty much do that the last few years. So that's pretty easy. Um, I know that postcards are mandatory now in order to be an ROR. I know a lot of people hear the word mandatory and it's not really exciting, but there's a reason it's mandatory. It's because it works and it makes a really big difference for all of us. Um, Especially with people that have been around forever, like Miles, Stephanie. You guys have been around so long that a lot of your customers have new emails and new phone numbers and new addresses, and they don't get any of your marketing. So when they come to the fair, they're like, I bought someone from someone who was 15 years ago, and here Brian is a new rep, and he's like, oh, this is a new customer, but it's not. It's yours because they don't know you're even here anymore because you don't have their info, and it's not your fault. But that is one of the perks of doing all of these things and being active on ROR, of course. You're always going to get credit for that for being on there. So the postcard, for me, I usually have it land about 10 to 14 days before the fair starts. That's actually the same formula I do for all of my shows. If you're someone that sends postcards for other events, I stick to 10 to 14 days prior to the first day of the event. I do highly recommend having an assistant or Vast Action just mail them out for you so you're not adding work to your plate. I have not seen any of my own direct mailers in years. I send everything to my assistant. Vast Action does my fair, of course, but for all my other events, everything gets sent to my girl and she does it for me. You guys, we work so hard at these fairs. We're going to get tired. I think that as much time as you can have off with your family, friends, whatever your thing is, the better. You don't need to be sitting filling out envelopes. You can, if you're a new rep and you have a um, very small list, like maybe Brian, Josh, people that don't have as many people yet, it might make sense to do it yourself. But even then, if you have someone that can do it for you, I wouldn't. I would have them do it for you still. I do remember years ago, my mom, my stepdad at the time, myself, we would literally sit, I think me and my grandpa, we would sit outside and like fill out the envelopes together in 2015 and 16 for hours. That's not happening anymore. I cherish those moments because two of those people aren't here anymore. And I remember us sitting outside and them helping me, which is kind of a cool memory. But no, let's not do that anymore. The goal of the postcard, as a reminder, I'm sure a lot of you might view this differently, and I just switched my mindset. I want to say like a year or two ago. Forever, the postcard was for me was just money, get them excited, get them to come buy, tell them about the discounts. I'm sure you guys remember years ago, we would have the exact deals on the postcard. Buy 3 table knives, get one free, and whatever the hell else we did, I don't remember, but they were wild deals that we don't talk about now. The goal of the postcard is really not for them to like know what discounts are going on and get them excited to buy. It's to get them to come see you. That's my goal, is to get them to come and see me. You really want to just advertise the event. So the first thing you're going to want on your postcard is some type of like stop by the booth and get entered to win blank. We all do this. We all have the drawing slips. Hopefully you guys are giving a prize at the end. I think it's important to do that. Last year I did the new 4-inch veggie knife for Erie and the new 4-inch for the Erie or for both fairs. I did a veggie knife drawing. I did a wheel. I sent it to everybody. They were super excited. I want them to know that I don't just say I'm going to do a gift and then not give a gift, because they will catch on after a few years. Like, how come we never see a winner? You want to make sure that they can see the winner. I think I do recommend sending that out. I did it on my Facebook, my business page, and I also sent an email with the wheel, like a free wheel drawing that I found online. My assistant entered all the names for me. Again, I didn't do anything. All those drawing slips and people that bought, she entered them. We took a video of it spinning and the winner was announced and we sent it and people responded and got excited like, oh, I was so close. Like I saw my name on there a few times or whatever the case was. They liked it. And I think that's a really good thing to do. But that's the first thing you want on your postcard is some type of come see me and get entered to win blank. And that's just telling them like, hey, you don't have to buy anything. Just come see me. You're going to get entered. The next thing that you really want, of course, is your referral program. Hopefully, we all are doing some type of referral program at this point. That's one of my biggest things that I'm very good at is getting people to bring their friends and or call me during, before, and after an event, and getting more orders that way. So you want to have a very clear referral program on there, exactly how it works. Make sure they know that they need to either come to you or mention your name. I know all of us are very good at honoring ROR now, or not even ROR, excuse me, honoring referrals because that's something that is easy to not honor. And a lot of us don't do that anymore, which is good. If someone comes up, I know Marissa is probably the queen of this. Someone comes up and says, oh, like so and so, I talked to Liz like 10 days ago, or so and so said that Liz, I should see her. Like Marissa will send me that order, and I know she will. And it's a good feeling that we are now all doing that for each other. So make sure that the referral program is clear though, because if they come and they do all this work with Stephanie and they order an ultimate, and at the very end, they're like, oh, my friend bought a set. I think she's got it from Liz. She told me to ask for Liz. Like, make sure that they are doing it in the beginning, however, you have to prep them so that all of us are doing the right thing for the right reasons and not finding out at the very end. It's still great. You get the kickback from it, but make sure that the program is clear for everybody anyway. So the goal of marketing really isn't to get them for them to come see you only if they want to buy something. You want them to come see you regardless, to come say hi, see pictures of the baby, see pictures of the new house, whatever it is. You want them to come see you. So that's the first thing. Obviously, or excuse me, the second thing, you also want to highlight just fun things to do at the fair. That's something Vast Action is very good at, which is why they do a lot of my postcards for me, is they're really good at making other things on there, like whatever fun shows, things like that. They're really good at putting all of those extra goodies on there for people to know that it's not just a Cutco thing. Um, and then if you can get your schedule onto the postcard, I think it's a bonus. I think the last few years we haven't been able to do that. I think that if there's room and you can make it work, I think that's great. If it's not for this, even like your home shows or whatever, having your schedule everywhere, if you are someone that wants to see them personally, which most of us are, it's good to have it on there. The next thing is going to be your email. We all do an email, I'm sure. It's one of the cheapest things you can, it is the cheapest thing at this point that you can do. I do have my email land around 5 to 7 days before the fair starts. I'm going to use the same list of people from the postcard, but I actually do a wider radius for this because it is cheaper. So if you did 60 miles for the Erie County Fair, do 100 for your email and text. If you did 100 for the New York State Fair, do 150 miles. Worst case scenario, they don't come and see you, but maybe they'll still order something or be like, oh, Liz, I've been meaning to get a new cheese knife. I lost it. Whatever. I'll take that. So I think it's good to do a wider radius for your email and text messages. Mention there's going to be, specials exclusively for the fair, but don't mention exact deals. So let them know that there are deals, but you're not going to put an exact discount on there. I would never put an exact discount on anything anymore, actually. So the referral program obviously needs to be on there too. With this, you have more room to be very clear on how it works. I know I already kind of mentioned that. On the postcard, it doesn't really get into details. There is a referral program on there, but in the email, you can say a little bit more of however you want it to be done. Make sure your drawing, of course, is on that postcard as well. And then what I also have been doing in my email is putting something along the lines like, hey, if you did not receive a postcard, let me know immediately. There's a good chance you don't have their address correct, right? This is a good chance for them to update their contact info with you, or and then so you can connect with them and get their updated info. I do that for all of my shows now. For my emails, for my military customers, they move around a lot. That's how I learned to do it because military clients move constantly, and I realized a lot of my postcards were coming back, return to sender, or I just wasn't getting a great response for a little while, and I figured out it's because they were moving and I didn't realize it. So having something like that in there, I think it's just a good little tip. If you want them, or then also on your email, make sure you say, come say hi regardless, even if you don't need any more. Would love to just see you and show you pictures of Lucas or Levi or whatever your thing is, your child or whatever. I don't think anybody just got engaged, but if there was a wedding ring or something like that, just getting them to come see you and look at something that you want to share with them. So that is another tip there. Definitely have your schedule in the email for sure. very detailed, where you're at, what day, what booth. What Luciano actually did a couple years ago, and I don't know if we talked about this last year, but Luciano created like a little map as like a QR code with a map, and he has Amy put that on his postcard now and in his email. I think he put on his postcard. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, it's a yes. Okay. It's on his postcard, email. There's like a little QR code that can like scan it and see a map of Erie County Fair and like, or in New York State Fair. And he like circles where the booths are with the name of them. So it's very clear, especially at New York State Fair. We have a lot of booths, as y'all know. So if you're someone that bops around a lot, which most of us are, it's good to make it very clear of where you're going to be and how to get to that exact booth. So I thought the QR code was cool. I don't know how he made that. I'm not very good with technology, but he did it and he just updates it. Actually, doesn't even have to update it anymore because it's the same now. We haven't added any booths, so the picture is the same. So that's kind of cool if you want to do something like that. Cool. Another perk of just having them come to the booth, even if they're not interested in purchasing anything this year, is just having happy and good energy at the booth. I'm sure you guys have all had somebody come up or your customers come up, Liz, how are you? Stephanie, how are you? Curtis, how are you? While you're trying to close an ultimate or a homemaker or a 5-piece. And then, oh, hey, Betty Sue, it's nice to see you. Hey, real quick, I'm working with these guys here. Hey, real quick, how long have you had your Cutco? Do you love it? Blah, 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 blah. You all know how to do that. But having your customers come see you is going to give you more testimonials for those new people that you might be working with, or maybe your coworkers working with them and you want to help them close an order through a happy customer. That's huge. I will take my customers stopping by all day if they're going to help me close orders. With that being said, it's good to know how to control that, right? You don't want them butting in and ruining the sale for you because it can go either way. But like I kind of just said, like, hey, real quick, Stephanie, it's so good to see you. Hey, really, really quick, because I'm working with Aaron right now. He's never heard of Cutco. They're looking at buying their first set. How long have you had it? Have I sharpened them for you before? If you need them sharpened, okay, cool, whatever. But making sure that you frame it like, hey, real quick, I'm with these guys, but can you help me out? And usually they'll get the picture and won't budge in and like ruin the sale for you. Very rare where your customers do that. And that goes for people that are just walking by the booth too, saying like, oh my God, I love my Cutco. I've had it 20 years. Like utilize those people, but in a very controlled way. Don't let them take control of what's going on in front of you because your customers can get overwhelmed and walk away if they don't feel like you're giving them your all. I know I personally am one of those people. If I'm working with a sales rep and somebody comes along and they start working with them too, I don't like that. Like if I'm with you working, I want your attention. I want you to sell me and work with me. I don't like when people lose focus, especially if it's a bigger purchase. I like the attention to be with me. So I try to do the same for my customers. The next thing, of course, is texting and or voice drops. Texting, I will have my text for the fair typically go out like 1 to 2 days before the fair starts. I'm going to do things a little bit different this year with adding my assistant's going to be calling all of my top clients this year. That's going to be another touch, but I think what I'm going to do is have my text go out like the day before the fair starts and then have my assistant call my top clients like the first 3 or 4 days just to like get them to come see me. So that's something you can do if you have an assistant too, just having them do touches to your top clients. Luch and I have a script. Luch has been doing that for years. I did it a little bit last year. I'm going to be doing more this year than I usually do. Assistants, you pay them whatever you do, 15 to 25 an hour. It's worth them calling through your customers and leaving a voicemail if they don't answer, just to get them to come see you one more touch. Voice drop, of course, I usually do a voice drop halfway through the fair because I don't want my assistant to have to call everybody again. I don't want to keep doing a text and an email, so I'll do a voice drop, about halfway through, giving a little bit update of how I'm doing so far at the fair, how we're all getting really close to our goals. We're going to break a record, whatever the thing is. Letting them know there's X amount of days left, and to come in, I will mention the referral program again there because that's money. So at this point, you guys are probably realizing that you just want to hit them from every freaking angle possible. Some people respond better to texts. Some people respond to postcards. Some people respond to emails or calls from your assistant if that's the case. Worst case scenario, they get all of them and they're really going to come see you, and that doesn't suck. A little short story on something that happened to me not quite a year ago, but I was working at a base and I do everything I just said. I do the same exact thing for my bases also. All of the things I just said, I do the same exact thing. And this lady it was Wright Patterson, Ohio. It's a small military base that I work. I think actually Renee was here to watch this, which was really cool. She was training with me. The lady had come up, my customer, and she ended up purchasing a lot of Cutco. But before she did, she said, Liz, I got your postcard. I knew I needed to come get these knives sharpened. She had a red homemaker that she had bought for me, whatever, 2 or 3 years ago. She's like, I knew I needed to come get them sharpened, and then I totally forgot. But then I saw your email or your text message, and I put them in my car, and then I started to get busy, and then your assistant called me, and I think my assistant had called halfway through the event that week. I go for 5 days. So I think she had called her on day 2 or 3, and then she came in that day because my assistant reminded her again. She said, if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have made it. She said, but I do want to get another homemaker for my daughter. Long story short, because it doesn't matter how I did it, I used my sales skills because she got in front of me, and I got her to give her daughter the red homemaker that she already had. I got her to get a red signature for herself using the family program. I did the same thing Curtis just taught y'all. She has more than one kid. She can't give one daughter a homemaker, so then she added another homemaker. So it ended up being a red signature and a homemaker because she got all of those things. And she's literally said, like, I saw your postcard, I was gonna come, but then I totally forgot. Then I got your text, and I put them in the car. Then I just whatever got busy, and then your assistant called me, and here I am. And that just made me realize how important it is to really do all of those things, because that was a very slow base. I think I was only at like 2 or 3 orders, and that was obviously a really good order. I'll take a signature and a homemaker. I paid my assistant, I think I paid her 25 an hour. I actually don't know, but I think it's 25 an hour. And she does really good. She makes me a lot of money because she called my customer. Now, it's really important to do the postcard also, because if you don't have, that's kind of obvious. I don't know why I put this, but obviously postcards are great because if you don't have the correct email and phone number, they're still going to get a touch. That's why we do all the things. We already kind of said that, but just a reminder again. Let's see, I kind of skipped around here. It's really good to share your goals and updates. I think that makes a big difference halfway through the fair. People love to hear, not everybody, but a lot of people really love you and get tied into you. I know Marissa's customers, and I know Aaron's customers, Stephanie's, Renee, honestly, all of us, all of our customers love us and look forward to knowing how you're doing in life, and updating them with your goals and what's going on makes them want to come back and buy more and help you achieve your goals in life. And I think it really makes a difference to share those things. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't think people don't care, because some people don't care. You're right. But a lot of people do care. So for, I think every one person that doesn't care, I would say 5 or 6 do care. So it's worth it. Just tell everybody. I really recommend making sure everything gets set up and done at least a month before your show. Sorry, someone's trying to get in here. Who is it? Oh, Stephanie. I think she got kicked out. Okay. I highly recommend making sure everything gets done at least a month before any A show happens, whether it's your home shows or just any big show. Make sure everything is done. Make sure your tickets are all taken care of. Make sure your emails and texts are set up. Make sure your voice drop is done with Vest Action. Make sure everything is just done, because then you don't have to stress out. It's nothing worse than the fair about to start and you're like, oh my God, I never scheduled my text or my email. And then you're just racing to do it, and it's just causing stress that is unneeded. There's no reason to do that to yourself, or halfway through the fair being like, oh, I forgot to do the voice drop. It's 10 p.m. You just worked a 12-hour shift. Now you have to email Vest Action and wait till the next day to even get it done, because they don't work at 10 p.m. naturally. So get things done before. I would put in your schedule today when you want things to go out, and put it in your schedule today when you're going to get that set up. This week, I just finished all of my marketing for June and July. Everything, all my texts, emails, postcards are all set up and done for any show that I'm doing in June and July. I haven't started the fair yet, but I do it 1 or 2 months ahead of time. So mid-July, early July, I'll have everything done for the fairs. Cool. Now, another thing you really should be adding to all your marketing is your sharpening event information. A lot of us do a lot of sharpening events. Some of us don't do any. Some of us do a few. Sharpening events are a no-brainer, especially after these freaking fairs. We get so many people that come up and ask about sharpening at the fair. So if you're not either taking names and scheduling in-homes, if that's your thing, or doing service events, you're missing a ton of freaking money. I know Vest Action, or not Vest Action, excuse me. I know Josh's team makes it mandatory at the fair. Like, Luciano literally comes home to Tennessee and he has to fly back once or twice to do sharpening events, or he can't work the fair. He either has to buy another flight to go back and do it when it works for him. They have different days, you guys, that they can pick. We don't make it mandatory, which is fine, but we should just be doing it because it's the right thing to do. I personally do 2 days in Erie every August, and I do two days again in right after the New York State Fair. I have it directly after. For people that are traveling from out of town, if you get a day or two off of the fair and you want to do it in the middle of the fair, if you have enough stuff to set it up, you can. That's normally what I do at Erie, is I'll do it halfway through the fair. This year, I'm going to do it a little bit differently, and I'm going to do 3 days before the fair for Erie County, and then I'm doing 2 days after New York State Fair, just the way my schedule worked out. But either way, all of my days are booked and done. The hotels are already booked and set up. So make sure you're doing sharpening events. It's going to create not only more CPO for you, but it also validates the warranty that we're preaching at the fair. So if you're every year you're saying we do free sharpening and da 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 da, but then you don't offer free sharpening ever, they'll catch on to that. You're not practicing what you preach. Even if you don't say I do sharpening, like, even if you don't say like I do in-home sharpenings, which most of us don't do, or I don't do sharpening, or I do sharpening events, and then you're not talking about it, or excuse me, then you're not sending them marketing for it, they're going to pick up on it over time. So you just make sure you do it. Cool. I think most of us are doing sharpening events at this point, but if you're not doing it directly after the fair, you're missing out. So I would also have all of that information on the postcard, email, and text. Maybe not so much the text, but for sure the other two have either a QR code that takes them to your Acuity or your Calendly, or at least have the link in there for them to sign up. Last year I did 2 days, the last few years I've done 2 days of service in each city, like I mentioned. This year I'm doing 2 days, but I'm also going to come back a few months later and do another 2 days, because I found that my sharpening event booked up so fast after New York State Fair. I realistically should be doing 3 to 4 days with how many leads I get between my own customers and new leads. I just don't have it in me to mentally right now to do 4 days after the fair, because I do it directly after before I fly home. But I would recommend doing at least 2 or 3 and then doing another 2 to 3, a month or so after you've recovered from fair hours. If you do it right, you can really book those up and sell 10 to 20, $30,000 more, depending on how many days you do. I think last year I didn't look, but I think I did 15 or 20. I think I did 15K last year in 2 days. I did a sharpening with Curtis, Renee, and Luciano directly after, and I did pretty well. Cool. Now, to mention tickets, we all know that tickets are available for us to buy. We all pretty much do this at this point also. The Erie County Fair tickets aren't the cheapest, but it's worth it if you use them correctly, of course. I personally think it's really going above and beyond for clients to get them to love us even more. Even if they don't buy that year, they're going to have a stronger loyalty to you. And maybe the next year they'll buy something for the family program, or maybe your holiday sale will come along and they're going to order something because they remember that you gave them $30 worth of tickets at the fair. So try not to choose who you give them to based on what they've spent, because you really just don't know what a customer is going to buy ever. You just don't know. So getting them to like you and love you is huge, and making sure that they know about all the packages and programs so that it's top of mind for them. Customers are more likely to come say hi to you and at least thank you if you give them a ticket. I did keep track last year. I had my assistant keep track of who actually came, whether they bought or if they didn't buy, how much they spent if they did buy. I'm not going to not, after 1 year, I'm not going to just not give those people again that didn't buy tickets. But if I notice after 2, 3 years, they're not thanking me and they're not buying, they're probably going to get removed from the following year after that, but I'm going to give them a couple of years. I'm pretty big on thank you. So as long as people are saying thank you, I'll leave them on there. But if they're not thanking me, they're not buying, I would at least cut them off from the ticket part of it, just because they're so expensive at Erie. New York State Fair, they're cheap. Just do it. Makes sense to send them to everybody. Most people, I should say. Okay. So with tickets for that too, let me see. If you have a smaller list of clients, you still want to do, let me backtrack for a second. There's 2 different ways to handle the tickets, and we all know this. You could just pick who you send it to. I think some people do that, where they just look at their top clients, they put them in an envelope, they surprise them, they like the surprise factor of it. That's fine if that's what you want to do. The other option is asking who wants tickets, doing an email and text saying, hey, I'm going to bless, or however you want to word it, I'm going to bless 100 people with tickets, or 50 families this year with tickets. The first blank to respond are with how many tickets they'd like and their address I will send them to you. You can ask. I personally ask. I love the surprise factor of it, but when tickets are that expensive, I'm talking about Erie right now, I'm not going to just send them to everybody because if they're out of town this year or they're not coming, I don't want to spend them $30 of tickets. That's just my personal choice this year. So I'm going to ask who wants it and get them excited. Last year when I did this, I think I don't remember the exact numbers, but I told Aaron I wanted 100 tickets, let's say, and I had way more people interested. So I'm going to do a little bit more this year so that I don't have to like cut them off because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm so sorry I ran out. Um, I'm going to send the text earlier this year in case I do need more because Aaron needs the number of tickets that we need because of bring them to the retreat. But at the end of the day, if you need more, you can get more later. You're just the number that we give him by Friday are the number of tickets you'll be receiving at the retreat. So you still can add more later. You just won't have them in time for the retreat necessarily. Okay. So that is that. I'll be emailing and texting my customers probably end of June to get that list ready. We're going to get the tickets obviously early July at the retreat. So I'm going to have my list completely ready to go before we receive the tickets. On that note, if you're doing it yourself and or if you're having somebody do it for you, really recommend getting those envelopes filled out before the retreat even comes. That and New York State Fair for that matter. That way, when the tickets do come, you can stuff it and send it. If everything is prepped and ready, it'll be easier. Now, we know that we're getting the tickets for Erie County Fair at the retreat. That's easy. We know what to expect. New York State Fair, as always, has a big fat question mark next to it. Nobody knows anything as usual. It's not Aaron's fault. It's the lady's fault. We don't know when we're going to get them. So if you have your envelopes ready with your info, the customer's info, and the stamp, if it is a little bit more last minute, which hopefully it's not, but if it is, at least it's ready so they can get it off right away when we do receive them. Hopefully that'll be figured out sooner than later, but I do recommend just getting your envelopes prepped now. Earlier than later, I should say. Okay, so I just want to give a little shout out to Curtis too. Last year, obviously I was pregnant last year. So at the retreat, Curtis had gave me some good advice. I was asking him, I think I pulled him aside and I asked him what he puts in his text for the fairs because I was just curious what he sent people, how he worded it. And I don't remember exactly what he told me that he does, but he told me to have like the family program be in my text, like ask me about the new family program. Make sure you ask me about this new family program. Oh, by the way, and I tied it into Lucas. We're expecting our first, or except I don't remember how I worded it. I'd have to look it up. But basically, I introduced the new family program as this new exciting thing. Make sure you ask me about it. And I kind of tied it into hinting that I was pregnant. And I had a really, really, really good response from that because instead of just saying, hey, I'm at the fair, come see me, schedules in your email, bring a friend, whatever. I added some value to them and got them curious about something that was a new program that was available. A lot of my clients do know what the family program is because Curtis taught me how to utilize that years ago and I've been using it, but I have not used it since 2012. So there's a lot of customers that still do not know about it, and that's a fact. So I had so many customers come up to me at the fair last year and say like, "Oh, what's the new family program? Are you pregnant? Like, what's that? Like, is that what you were hinting at?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But I tied them in, and I had more family program orders than I've ever had. I don't have stats on what I sold or how many, but I was grateful that I added it in there, and that's all I remember, and that's all I care about. So I'm not saying that you have to specifically do the family program in your text, but having something new and exciting in your text might be a good idea. Ask me about the new, if you want to do business gifts or whatever your thing is, I would just consider doing something like that to have them want to ask you a new question when they see you. If I guess I would recommend the family program if you guys have never done that before, because it was a really good response, but whatever you want to do. The referral card I wanted to mention on this too. I think I've shown you guys this before. I don't know. I learned that these referral cards I had made a couple of years ago. I learned it from Mike Dawood, I believe. Dawood does this, and I learned it from him several years ago at Net. Basically, I have like a referral card that says on the front it says referral gift program, $250. It's a little bit heavier of a card. It's not like a cheap card, but it's not super expensive. Has a little blurb on the back there with my info. Basically, it just says give this card to a friend or loved one when they purchase $399 or more. You each get a $75 gift. That's a total of $150. when your friend purchases 600 or more, you both receive an additional $50. And then all my name on there. On the bottom right corner, it says friend's order must be over $399 before tax and shipping. This card is only valid with a purchase from Lizz Pataki. It cannot be combined with other offers. What you write on your card doesn't make a difference. If you want to copy mine, you can. I had Vast Action make this for me. They helped me design it. They printed it for me, but you can do it however you choose to with whatever numbers you have. The reason I had this created originally was to have added to all of my thank you cards that go out to every size order. So my assistant sends a thank you card to every single order. I don't care if it's a cutting board or if it's a $20,000 order, they're getting the same exact thank you card. And I do not do it as a postcard because I'm a big believer in that gets thrown in the trash. So everything goes in an envelope. Now they add these to each of those for me. And that has made me a lot of money over the last few years. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that every single person sends me a referral because that would be a lie. But I've gotten so many that, and they're usually pretty decent orders, that it has definitely paid for my cards. It's not even adding any money to the cost of postage because it's so light. So it's not like it's adding any other money other than paying for the card itself. This year, the reason I'm bringing this up, because this obviously it is marketing technically, but that's your after marketing. This year, I'm having these go into all of my cards that I send out with the tickets. So the tickets are going to be sent in a postcard, obviously, or excuse me, in an envelope. I'm going to put these in there also because I'm talking about the referral program in the email, in the postcard, everything. I'm going to actually provide a card, maybe two. I haven't decided. This will be the first time I've done it, but I'm going to put maybe two of these in each one so that they have cards on hand that they can hand somebody. Hopefully this year at the fair, you'll see these walk up. If you do, you'll know why it's happening. It's because I put them in their envelope. But I thought that would be a really good idea to try to push the referral program even harder. So that would be a good idea. You guys can make these pretty fast too. It's definitely not too late. I can send a picture in the group if you want. It's nothing fancy. I totally don't mind if you reach out to Vast Action and say, I want to use what Lizz's looks like. I'm sure Amy can just put your info on it if you asked her. Or if you want to make one on Vistaprint yourself, whatever you want to do, I don't care. But I thought that was a really good idea this year to add that as another form of marketing for myself, just to push the referral program even harder. So everything that I just talked about, I do this for every single show that I do. Even my small shows, I do the postcard, I do an email, and I do a text, and my assistant calls my top clients for every single show. Even if it's just Cornhill or something a little bit smaller, she's still doing that for me. And that is why my marketing has been really successful over the last 5+ years, because I'm consistent with what I do every single time. And yeah, I've never had a customer come up to me and say, Liz, you drive me crazy. Why do you send me so many things? They don't. They appreciate it. They either don't say anything at all, which is fine, or they say, thank you so much for reminding me that you're going to be here and sending me your schedule. It was so easy to find you, and whatever the case is. So that is what I have. If you have any questions, hit me. But that is it.
That was great. Couple quick questions. When you do referral program in text and email, can you talk about the phrasing? Because obviously you're not going as granular as, $125 for each of you or stuff like
Yeah, I
that.
don't put any numbers and this is the only thing that has that. I honestly, once I run out, I might bump that up a little bit higher. I'm not a huge fan of the 399, but I also don't want to go too crazy high where they feel like it's not worth calling me. So I might change that next time they make cards, but this has been working, so it's not a big deal. But for the text, it's definitely a lot more simple. I could pull up my Textly and see, but I think I just basically say like, hey, we'll just talk about a normal show. Hey, I'm going to be at the Syracuse Gun Show next weekend, July 9th through the 11th. Would love for you to come see me. Stop by the booth to get entered in to win blank. No purchase necessary. Oh, by the way, I have a cool new refer a friend program. If you bring/send a friend my way and they purchase from me, you will get a free gift. And I think that's all I say. I changed the wording a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing every time. So I say bring/send a friend directly to me and you will get a free gift. This says they both get a free gift. Obviously, I'll honor that. But when I send those texts, I just say you will get a free gift. My email pretty much has the same thing in it. For the fairs and for home shows, I'm a little bit more specific with like, please make sure you come see me. I don't remember. I'd have to look at my emails, but I'm a little bit more, you guys know I don't, I love when y'all send me ROR, but I've been very like, come to me for my whole life. So it's still hard for me to switch that. But um, I make sure that they know that they have to either come see me or they need to mention my name in the beginning when they work with someone because I want you guys to all know if it is my customer when they walk up to you. Now, everybody's not going to honor that, I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be times where they don't mention me at all. And then all of a sudden you check ROR and it's mine or whoever's it is. That'll still happen. But by me doing that, it's helped eliminate that. Usually when somebody sends me an ROR too, I'll ask you guys like, oh, did they mention my name? And for the most part, most of you say yes. It's very rare that I get a no, which just means that my marketing is doing what it's supposed to do, which is fine.
And second question, thank you. A second question for me, and then I'll open it up. When you do the mid-show text or email or voice drop, and you said you tie that into your
Mm.
goal, um, how do you have some phrasing with that? Is there like how would you do that? Some of these people have already come seen you. There's
Yeah, yeah,
usually some people already bought, some people, there's like a lot of different channels. In the beginning, no one's been there.
yeah.
Some of them have been there now. Some of them said, I'm not going to be there. Now they're getting another
Yeah. So
thing.
it's funny you say that because Luciano is very similar to that. He always says like, oh, like I don't want to send to everybody. What if they already said that they didn't that they're not coming, or what if they already bought from me? He worries, not worries about that a lot, but it's in the back of his head.
Hmm.
I don't care, but I don't mean that in a mean way. I usually will say something along the lines of like, "Hey, like let's talk." But I usually do a voice drop halfway through. I don't like to do it. I will probably do a last chance text towards the end of the fair, but I like to do a voice drop the halfway through point. And I'm gonna say something. I don't have it scripted, but I'm gonna say something along the lines of like, "Hey guys, the fair is halfway done. Just wanted to say thank you to those who have already come and worked with me at the fair. I really appreciate you supporting my Cutco family or being a part of my Cutco family. For those of you that haven't come to see me yet, just want to let you know that I'm super close to breaking my record I'm super close to, yeah, that's probably what I'll say. I'm super close to breaking my record for my fair sales. If you guys come and see me, you're going to get extra specials. Don't forget if you bring or send a friend my way, as long as they work directly with me or mention my name, you'll get a free gift, and so will they, or however I want to word that. But to cover my butt on that front end, I will say if you've already come to see me, thank you so much for being part of my Cutco family and supporting that whatever. If you haven't come to see me yet, XYZ. Um, that way they're not like, well, Liz, I already came to see you. Would you forget my order wasn't big enough? Because I feel like people have done that in the past. Very rarely I've had someone say that jokingly. Actually, that actually happened exactly. Normally, I had just did my spring sale a couple weeks ago, and I had forgotten to remove somebody when they purchase. I do remove them from the future marketing for my sales. And I had forgotten to remove my favorite customer, Kathleen, who was totally joking because she came to my baby shower and she's part of my life. She's very close to me now. But I
I
forgot
think
to,
I know Kathleen.
yeah,
She's from Binghamton, right?
everybody know. Yeah, you know Kathleen.
Yeah,
Kathleen's like a gold client,
I know Kathleen.
big star. But Kathleen, I forgot to remove her and she had placed a gift for a wedding. And it was like 500 bucks or 400 bucks. And I forgot to remove her when I did the second text, the last chance. She was like, oh, my order wasn't big enough. Like, you want me to order again, Liz? Like, she was totally kidding. But she wasn't mad. Like, I mean, you're not going to make these people mad, but I try to remove people from my sales. But when it comes to the fair, we have so many orders at the fair, so many people that stop and come see you, so many people that fill out the drawing slip but don't order. There's no way for you to keep track and remove everybody. It would just be too hard. If it was easy, I probably would do it, but it's not. And there's no way for me to remember who came and saw me and to remove all those people. It's just impossible when you're working with thousands of people on a list. So I will just make sure I say something like, thank you if you've already come to see me. If you're not coming to the fair this year, so sorry I missed you. I hope to see you next year. If you haven't come yet, blah, 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 blah. Hopefully that answers your question.
Cool. Other questions for Liz?
Hey, I have one.
Mhm.
So I got bumped for a minute. You might answer this, but when you send out the the mid show tax, is that only for the 2 week shows or do you do it for the 1 week shows too? Because I was thinking maybe the Dutchess County Fair.
Yeah, I would say anything that's over 7 days long, like a week or more, I would do a halfway through.
Okay.
Obviously my weekend shows, I'm not going to do that. But if you have a any, yeah, your Dutchess County Fair, or an event that lasts like a rodeo or something that lasts 2 weeks or a week and a half, I would do a halfway.
All
Yeah,
right, cool. Thank you.
good question. Okay.
That's great, Liz. Any other questions? All right, awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing all you and all your babies in Rochester.